I've been a product manager for almost 5 years and I've had 3 roles in that time. Stick around and I'll share with you the top 4 things I think you should put on your CV and things that you should speak about at your next job interview. Hi guys, it's Phil from CV Sam. Here at CV Sam, our goal is to help you land your next dream job. We provide you with tips and tricks for your CV, your next job interview, and your career in general. So in this video, we're going to cover the top 4 things that you should put on your CV if you are or you want to become a product manager. Let's dive right in. So the first thing to remember before we start talking about the different tips is that every job is going to be different. So some of these tips might not be appropriate depending on the role. You should really contextualize or customize your CV and the way that you answer questions at your next job interview around the job that you're applying for. So some jobs, some product manager jobs, will orientate around certain product manager disciplines. And so some of these that I share with you today are quite general and maybe appropriate, but I would certainly suggest reviewing the job advert, reviewing the job description, and making sure that you go in with answers which are appropriate for the particular job that you're applying for. But putting that aside, here are 4 top tips that I think you should speak about on your CV and in your next job interview if it's appropriate. Tip number 1, writing product requirements. So from a epic level all the way down to a user story level. Now, if you are already a product manager, you probably understand what this means. If you're not, basically an epic is a really high level requirement and a user story is a really low level requirement. And as a product manager, you need to be able to articulate epics and you need to be able to drill down to user story level. So writing requirements all the way from an epic level down to a user story level is a really useful skill, especially if your product role is going to be covering the product development side of the product. So I highly recommend that on your CV, and if given the opportunity in an interview, that you talk about how you have experience in taking a really high level requirement and chunking it up and being able to articulate it to senior management and to a developer, because these requirements are what are going to feed software development teams and help you deliver new software which underpins your product. Tip number 2 is cross-team working and stakeholder management. So as a product manager, you're probably not going to manage anybody directly, but what you do need to do is work with stakeholders from across the business. So whether it's marketing or development, whether it's the managing director or whether it's the junior developer, you need to be able to work with all of these different stakeholders and try to make sure that you're gathering all of the inputs necessary to drive really good quality product development. So things that I would talk about is how you're able to bring loads of people on a journey, even if what you're working on isn't particularly their most important priority at that time. It's a really useful skill that you as a product person need to convey on your CV and in a job interview, because that's an attribute which product people are expected to have, and if you're really good at it, you need to get that across. Tip number 3 is commercial awareness. So things like where you've had to create a business case, and more importantly, what was the outcome? So was a decision made based off of a business case that you created? Were there some costs and some benefits that you had to analyze and work out what the net benefit was? And did you then make a decision to do something or to not do something? It's particularly useful if you can use statistics to show how good you are at this part of the role. So for example, something along the lines of, I created a business case which was to reduce the product costs from 50% to 45%. And this resulted in the business saving £200,000 over the next 2 years. You know, one of the main things that you should take away is using statistics and numbers to convey the impact of your skills. Tip number 4, if you can share examples of where you've used data or insights to influence your decision-making process, that will come across really well. You really want to talk about the outcomes. So perhaps you hosted a series of customer workshops where customers came and tried to use maybe your website or your app. Now what you could say is that based off of the workshops, we found that customers would prefer if feature XYZ was actually placed in a different place. Maybe you use A/B split testing, which is where you show a feature in a particular place to one set of customers, and to another set of customers you show the same feature in a different place, and maybe you use the insights that you gather from these workshops so that you know where performs best. Does the feature get more usage if it's in a certain place versus another place? This is really valuable insight. So if you can demonstrate that you increased product attachment rate or usage from 10% to 30%, because you ran a series of customer workshops and you found out that that feature would perform better if it was put in a different place on your portal or app, it shows that you're using data and insights and you're achieving really solid outcomes, such as product usage increasing and therefore the revenue increasing. Something like that will go down really well and will come across fantastic in a job interview. Tip number 5, and this is going to vary depending on the seniority of the role that you're applying for, but tip number 5 is conveying that you can think big picture strategy, but you can also think about the day-to-day tactical side of product management. So really what you're trying to do is show that you're an all-rounder product manager. So you're able to think about the big picture, but you're also able to react on a day-to-day basis with a product outage or a customer complaint or something happening in the moment, and you're able to go back and perform, but then equally you're able to step back and look at the bigger picture and how things are going to come together over the next couple of months or the next couple of years. There's a time and a place for thinking about the big picture, but there's also the need to, on a day-to-day level, execute against that strategy. And if you can do both, that's fantastic. Again, depending on the seniority of that job that you're going for, the ratio of tactical versus strategy is going to vary. The more senior that you are, you're going to need to hone in on the strategy more. And the more junior that you are, you do need to focus on the tactical stuff a bit more and leave the strategic thinking to the more senior managers. But it is important, even if you are a junior member of staff, that you do think about the bigger picture as well. Okay, so let's recap. So number 1, writing product requirements from epic to user story level. Number 2 is being able to manage stakeholders from different parts of the business. Number 3 is commercial awareness. Number 4 is using data and insights to influence your decision-making process. And tip number 5 is having the right blend of strategic thinking, but also being able to roll your sleeves up and really get involved. And that's everything. But like I said at the start of this video, you do need to make sure that when you're talking about different parts of the product role and the different parts of it that you're really good at, you do need to make sure that it's relevant for the job that you're going for. These are my 5 favourite skills. If you think I missed any, put them in the comments below. And as always, if you took value, then like the video. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe, and if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification next time we post a video. Don't forget, you can find us over at cvsam.com. CVSam is a free CV builder. It's completely free. You can make unlimited CVs. You can sign up in less than 60 seconds. I'd really recommend that you go and check that out. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.